Hi, welcome back everybody. I wanted to do a video today on a positive. I have as you can probably tell, those of you that have been following majority or all my videos, I have a lot of videos on my negative work experiences, negative companies and workplaces, so I figured it was time I did a video on a good workplace for the most part, and it was only for 2 months, and that was last year when I first moved out to Arizona. I worked at a Costco wholesale warehouse, and I was just seasonal. And if I could go back, of course I'd probably still be part-time, but if I could go back, I was looking for something better, but I would have stayed there. They didn't really, for whatever reason, I know they liked me there, but for the most part, but they didn't rehire me for this season. I don't know why, and I applied to more than just one location. As far as the application process, pretty fast compared to a lot of the other jobs and companies I applied for out here. The way it worked is you fill out online application, and it's pretty simple. A lot of those online applications are pretty complicated, but Costco is pretty straightforward. And surprisingly, like a lot of these companies, like they want you to have a resume. Like it gets some of them, like it's required. It's like if you don't have a resume, don't even bother applying. But they actually didn't. And some of them, it's optional. Like you can do it, and it looks better if you do it. But yeah, Costco didn't even have that option. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. And from what I remember, they let you apply to like 5 different locations, which I did. And I did get called pretty quickly. And I went in and I remember it was pretty fast. I did go in for an interview, and the interview was a little bit kind of tough, a little bit of intimidating. It was like a panel interview with like 3 people. One manager was like asking me the questions, and another manager was writing down my answers, and then there was the supervisor who I ended up working with. He wasn't saying anything, or he was just like in there observing, like watching. That was kind of intimidating, and he was kind of watching my reactions to see how I reacted to the questions, my emotions. But I felt like it went fairly well, and then I think they scheduled me. If they call you in for a second interview, that pretty much means that you're hired. But I still had to go in for a second interview with the warehouse manager, like the manager of the whole place. It's like a 6-figure job. And it was pretty short and sweet. And it was a couple tough questions from what I remember. And from that point, they took me right into the office and did the finishing touches. They actually do a background. I don't know if they did the background check before the second interview or after the second interview, but I know I did right after the second interview finished. It was probably less than 10 minutes, maybe only 5 minutes. But yeah, the general warehouse manager, she took me right into the office, human resources, and you do a drug test right on site there. Most of them still do urine or hair, but yeah, Costco is basically like spit into this tube, and they do the drug test. Well, obviously they send it out somewhere, but you do it right there. And then they called me back pretty fast for orientation. And yeah, the girl doing the orientation, yeah, I don't know if she was new or what. She was definitely young. I think she was only like 22 or 23. And I mean, she was nice, but yeah, at first it kind of left a bad impression on me because she couldn't answer. Like it seemed like she didn't know her ass from a hole in the ground, because she was talking about, I was asking about the dress code, like dress attire. And she said that you had to wear like, pants. You couldn't wear shorts, and you had to wear guys had to wear collared shirts. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I said, when I came in, I saw, because I actually did see a cashier. He was wearing like cargo shorts and a t-shirt with no collar. And I brought that up to her, and she's like, oh, strange, really? Huh? And she's like, well, I guess don't take advice from me. I thought that was kind of strange. And then, what was another thing? I think I was asking like it's basically with parking, Well, I stocked in the mornings. I left as soon as the customers, because as soon as the customers come, it's not like other stores, we continue stocking. They don't want you stocking for, safety measures, precautions. They want you, done stocking as soon as so you stop like 15 minutes or like half an hour before the store opens, because we open like 10, like 9 o'clock on the weekends. And yeah, you'd stop like a half an hour. They wanted you to get finished like half an hour beforehand. And then, you'd sweep and, do your, safety walk through and make sure everything, just basically a double checking of the place. So, yeah, I was out of there. So getting back to the parking, I was out there by the time the customers showed up, or they were just starting to show up. And basically, you just park as far away as possible. But I just wanted to make sure, because some workplaces, they have like a real strict, like designated parking area where it's like, it's imperative that you park here, definitely don't park anywhere else. It's funny, like I asked her like 3 times, like where specifically we were supposed to park, and she just like couldn't answer it. And she's like, "Oh, you're good, you're good, you'll find it, you'll know, don't worry." I'm like, okay. And so there was that, and I started. I think the next day, yeah, they had me. Actually, my first day was kind of tough because I did all these people were doing. I wonder if I was supposed to have my orientation during the day, or if they didn't do them during the day. Maybe they just did them in the evening. But this was from like 5 to 10 o'clock at night, and I had like a 45-minute drive, and I was scheduled to start at 5 o'clock in the morning until 10. But the girl doing the orientation, she's like, "Oh, you're gonna be, I want you to get your sleep, so you're gonna, be here till 10. So I know you got a 45-minute drive home, 45-minute drive back. So could you come in at 7? Would that work?" I'm like, "Okay, that's fine." So I came in at 7 and worked from 7 to 10, and then like the last, because you have part-time or seasonal part-time people, they work like 5-hour days. So the first 3 hours from 7 to 10, I got trained on stocking, and then it was the only time I ever did it, but I worked the front end, which I really didn't like. But fortunately, I did that for the last 2 hours, but it was pretty rough. They put me, I guess, with like the fastest cashier, and it's like, he knew that I was new, but someone said, because someone the next day asked me how it went, the front end, and I said, well, I know it was my first day, but it was pretty rough for me. I said, I didn't really enjoy that too much. I was struggling to keep up, and this guy, like, he wanted me to get their membership cards, and he said, yeah, try to get their membership cards and hand it to me as fast as you can. That way I can get them, into the computer, start scanning their items. But it's like I was having trouble keeping up just with, they don't have bags there. You have boxes, but that was the tough part. Like some people want boxes for their items, and it's tough you can only store like a certain amount of boxes underneath the counters. You got to keep like running back and forth to get more boxes from like the bathroom area. And, some people, there's some things like, eggs, rotisserie chickens, because rotisserie chickens can they're juicy, tend to kind of like leak from the bottom. They can be hot. And, eggs, can break pretty easily. And, like glass, like liquor, like wine bottles, I think, there were certain things that they always wanted you to get boxes for that. Most of the people didn't want boxes, but yeah, still, I've never worked as a, grocery bagger before, working on the front end, assisting, so it was too tough for me to keep up. And this guy was the fastest cashier, and like you said, he was wanted me to do more stuff, but it's like, damn, I was like, I'm struggling just to keep up with putting the groceries, the items into the cart. So that was the only day I did that. They actually did offer me to stay over other days. Like, hey, would you want to stay over, get a few extra hours? They always made up like some excuse, like, oh, I got to get home, and my wife's got to go to work. I got to take care of my daughter, or I just said I have something going on, or I said like I'm not feeling well. It was only a few times, but yeah, I really did enjoy the stocking there. And as a seasonal person, I didn't get any benefits, but even the part-timers, they offer pretty good benefits. I'm not sure about part-timers, but full-timers, I guess they pay up to like 93% of your insurance premium. And I think, I know for single mothers, because there were a lot of single mothers there, I think they offered them like a lot of assistance, with, I think they had a pharmacy program, like something with prescriptions. And I think, did they offer like free, like mental health care, or was it really really cheap, like healthcare, counseling, things like that? So yeah, there definitely was a lot of good benefits, and you get like raises every 900 hours that you put in, and the raises like at first I think they were only like 50 cents or so, but the longer you stay there, the more that raises increase. Because there was one guy, I think he was there for like 5 or 6 years, and he said, yeah, he's like, I just got a $2 an hour raise. I'm like, holy shit, and yeah, I think the average wage, like I start at 13 an hour. I guess the average wage for like the hourly employees there is over like 20 an hour, so that's pretty good. Especially for it's not really a high-skilled job, and a lot of people have been there forever, and it's like just starting out, the pay there is much higher than other retail stores, especially looking at Walmart. I guess Walmart pays more than they used to, but they used to pay, they still kind of pay lousy. But yeah, they used to be like a minimum wage. I know years ago, like 5 years ago, I think I had heard that like 90% of Walmart employees are on government assistance. I'm like, damn, that's pretty bad. And I thought to myself, that they're one of the richest corporations in America, and yet they're treating their employees like that, and that's pretty bad. I think they pay more now. Because the minimum wage in Arizona is like 10 an hour, and I think Walmart employees, at least out in Arizona, I think they start at least like 11 an hour. And Sam's Club, even though most of them closed, Sam's Club is affiliated with Walmart, and I think that was the same thing too. I think they start out like 11 an hour, which wasn't much above the minimum wage. But yeah, Costco, I got treated pretty well. There was just one supervisor I didn't really care for, didn't really get along with. I know when I first started there, they were actually doing some but on the side of the store, back by the bakery, they were redoing the concrete. They had like contractors, and it was my job to be like security, so to speak. Just to keep an eye on them, make sure they didn't steal anything, and just to not to let anybody else come in the side door. Just be watched for suspicious activity, make sure nobody steals anything. And the supervisor, I think it was within like my first week, the supervisor kind of flipped out on me because there was a guy, I guess he was a new employee that started, it was his first day, and he had like jeans and a flannel shirt on, so he kind of looked like, I thought he was one of the contractors. I didn't realize it was his first day. Like everybody is supposed to enter, all the employees are supposed to enter through the front door where there's like a camera, and you actually like ring a doorbell, and there's like a peephole, they look to see who it is. But the supervisor like totally flipped out on me because I let this guy who was a new employee walk in the side door. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, like I thought he was one of the contractors. And but the more time went on, I got along better with him. But we got what was it, like was it a 15? Yeah, I think for just 5 hours you did get like a 15-minute break, and I think if you're there like 6 hours, you got a half-hour lunch, which was unpaid. The 15-minute break was paid for, but I know at one point, I know even the 15-minute breaks, there was like one girl, people started kind of, and I myself included, I know we got like really tired because like Black Friday, or like the weekend of Black Friday, and I think there was another week they started, instead of having us come at 5 in the morning till 10, they were having us come in at like 1, 2, 3, 3 in the morning to get, because there was so much more work to do. So people were tired and, just taking longer breaks. It was, it was kind of hard physical labor. At least I worked in, for the most part, I worked in what was called hard lines, the hardware. I was doing a lot of, I lifted like 200-pound gun safes and, vacuums, a lot of heavy stuff, toilets. What else did they have? Like, I think propane lamps. It was real mattresses, real heavy stuff. And, I think when it was, we were working these extra hours, people were getting there, 2 in the morning, and there was like a lot more stocking, a lot more labor to do. So people were so tired, like they were just kind of going over in their breaks, and they realized that they're just like, oh, like I know my 15 minutes is up, but like I can't go back to work yet. I'm hurting so bad. And I think there was that same supervisor. It's like he realized also he started kind of like cracking down because he noticed other people were taking longer breaks. And the guy went over, never majorly over, but I think I took my break, and I came back. He was like, down there, and I think I realized I went over him. I kind of sensed like, oh shit! I saw him at the bottom of the stairs. The break room was upstairs, and I bet you anything he's going to say something. He's probably watching the clock, monitoring, because the time clock was right there too. And I guess I went like 3 minutes over, so instead of a 50, I got, 3, I was on my break like an extra 3 minutes. And he's like, Jeff, he's like, do you know how long the breaks are? I'm like, yeah, 15 minutes. He's like, and how long of a break did you take? And I said, yeah, I went upstairs at like 9 o'clock, and yeah, it's 9:18 now. I was like, yeah, I guess I went over a few extra minutes. And he's like, yeah, it's an 18-minute break, so he's like, be careful, watch your break times. I'm like, all right, and I think one more time I went on break. He's like, oh, you go on break, Jeff? I'm like, yep. And he's like, all right, it's just 15, remember, just 15 minutes. I'm like, okay, sir, yes, sir. And I don't know if he had a military background, but, due to the danger of, things falling on your feet, possibly we all had to wear steel-toe boots. And there was one day he, I think I was stocking, and he was a distance away, maybe like 30, 40 feet away, and he's like, I thought I was in trouble for something. He's like, Jeff, he's like, come here, I need to talk to you for a second. So I walk up to him, and I'm like, what's up? What's going on? And he's like, oh, we're good. We're good. You can go back to stocking now. I'm like, oh, didn't you need me for something? And he's like, oh, no, I was just checking to make sure that you had the steel-toe boots on, and you do. He's like, I'm just checking that. Actually, there was one guy one day, he had like bolt moccasins on, and he's like, yeah, I just want to make sure you had the right shoes on, because if not, I was going to send you home. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. Mr. Tough Guy. But yeah, other than that, it was a great experience. I was looking to go back there this year, and the only thing that's, I don't know why they didn't rehire me, but they probably would have kept me, but there was no guarantee. I kind of wish I would have, stuck it out, but I left for what I thought was going to turn out to be a better job, and life kind of kicked me in the ass. The only thing that's kind of a shame about Costco is that, because they have really low turnover, it's a pretty good place to work, so, people don't leave. People stay a real long time, so it takes a long time to get hired on, full-time there. There's one guy that they said, yeah, if you're looking at full-time hour, you're probably looking at like 4 or 5 years. I'm like, wow, that's quite a while to stick it out. And they only make all the part-timers work like 5 days a week. That was the one thing that was kind of a downfall. I guess, 10 years ago, they used to let people do that, just work like 3 8-hour days, to get their 24, 25 hours, but for some reason they changed it, and now it's like the part-time, seasonal people, everybody has to work 5, because it was quite a drive too. I figured I'd save on gas money, just working like 3, 8, or 9-hour days, but they, if it's for whatever reason, like 10 years ago, they started making everybody, even the part-timers and the seasonal people, work 5 days a week and 5-hour days. And I guess it was, I did talk to one guy that worked in the food court area, and he was gathering up like stuff for pizza dough and the yeast and the flour, whatever. And he told me, he's like, yeah, I guess he had been there for like 2 or 3 years, and he said, yeah, I'm only part-time on the schedule, but he's like, with all the hours I work, he's like, they're always asking me to come in early, stay later. So he's like, even though I'm technically part-time, he's like, with all the hours I'm working, he's like, I'm getting around full-time hours for the most part. And, yeah, so, eventually I guess you get to full time there, and it's pretty much, gravy. And, the more time you put in there, the raises increase. I don't know if there was a top off. You know what you don't get? I think there was like a member discount, but you actually don't, I don't know how much it was, but you don't actually get a store discount. You still have to pay like full price for the items that you buy. But I guess after putting in like 25 years there, you get a free membership for life till the day you die. So, yeah, that's pretty good. And, most of the people, a few bad apples, I guess, just like anywhere. But for the most part, yeah, just about everybody there was pretty cool. It was definitely a different environment from, like, I never worked at Walmart, but from what you see at Walmart, it's just, yeah, it looks like much better, more mature and classy and different environment. For the most part, I got treated pretty well. My main supervisor I dealt with, I mean, he kind of, he told me what he was very serious. Like, he told me, didn't really smile a whole lot. Like, when I first met this guy, I'm like, oh man, this guy seemed like he's going to be like a total dick. I'm like, this is my supervisor. I'm like, oh fuck. But he was such a cool guy. I mean, like, he told me what he wanted done. It was very serious, but he was very helpful, and he was always very respectful, very kind, and he was one of the favorite bosses I ever had. So, yeah, that's, I think all I have to say about Costco, but yeah, I definitely recommend working there. They have really low turnover and pretty good employee reviews, and just like anywhere, there's always going to be negatives, but the positives definitely outweigh the negatives, and there's different departments you can work in. But I really enjoyed the stocking, and I did work in occasionally work in the freezer, and one day I worked in foods, like doing like the coffee and like a cereal, breakfast bars, things like that, and rice. And there was one day that I did work in the candy area where they have all the candy and some of the junk food. But for the most part, I worked up front, which is called the fence. It was basically 2 people. It was called hard lines, but they had the fence up front. That would take like an hour or 2. And the heavy stuff, real heavy stuff, was at the back. So normally what happened was this other girl, There was two other girls that normally worked with me. Like, one would start up by the fence. That's where you first walk in. That's the stuff they're really looking to push to sell. It's usually like, Mr. Coffee makers and Starbucks mugs and luggage. There were a lot of routine things up there. So yeah, like, one person would start up there by the fence, and then I would start all the way at the back, like by the, I worked in liquor too, liquor department. Yeah, I'd go all the way back by the liquor department, the bakery, and that was like the back of the hardware section, which they called hard lines. And that's where they had the sporting goods, and I would start back there normally, and then we would just meet in the middle. And the other girl, she'd start up by the fence, and yeah, I'd work my way up front, she'd work her way up back, and then we would finish up around finishing time before the store opened, like the last half hour. We would usually meet in the center, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I never worked in any other department, but there were actually it looked like a lot of the departments would be pretty fun to work in, especially with my culinary degree. I know the bakery was really like the busiest, like super busy. I know it was kind of funny, like last Thanksgiving or the day before Thanksgiving, I guess they ran out of dinner rolls and pumpkin pies too. Yeah, the bakery is really busy, especially during the holidays, but they sell a lot of pies, a lot of dinner rolls. But yeah, some woman, I can't believe the nerve of somebody to show up and just like right off the bat, she didn't place, like, I would have given them a heads up probably like a week beforehand, say, hey, I'd want, like, I forget how many dinner rolls there were, but we had like these plastic bags of filled with dinner rolls. I'm sure they're probably like maybe, I don't know, maybe 30 or 40 in there, maybe 50. And this woman just showed up out of the blue, didn't call ahead or anything like that, just no heads up. She just showed up like, oh, I'd like 25 bags of dinner rolls. And they're like, what? And she's like, 25 bags of dinner rolls. And they end up running out. And I remember one of the girls in the bakery was complaining about that. I see her point too, like what nerve to do that. But then someone said like, oh, what are you complaining about? It's people like that are, paying your salary. But she said, yeah, well, that's nice, but they don't give us a heads up. We end up running out of things. Then other people are more unhappy, and it might end up losing the business over that. And the deli too, and on a lot of grocery stores, deli workers, you have to work up front dealing with customers. But yeah, the deli there, the meat department, everything is done behind the scenes. So yeah, if you want to work in a deli and not have to deal with customers bothering you, I mean, there's a window you can see through, but you don't have to interact with them. Everything's done behind the scenes. So yeah, that's I definitely will consider Costco in the future. I was trying to go back there this year for the holidays, but they didn't hire me back for whatever reason. One of my friends still works there. She said, yeah, it's a shame. She said all the seasonal people we got this year are just like the biggest jag-offs. Like, they just don't want to, like, they have like attitudes, and they don't want to work at all. They're so slow, and we're having to do, pick up the slack. We're having to do like twice as much work. So yeah, that's my story on Costco, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Comment, like, subscribe, share, and I will see you all real soon with another video. Take care, everybody, and once again, happy Thanksgiving. Have a great holiday. Bye.